करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Before we continue with the text, just one point on what we discussed in the last class, because there was a lot of questions that came after that. What we mentioned about a person who is in the spiritual path and person who is generally in the worldly path but trying to get into spirituality a little bit. So this was what we were discussing, that a person who is pursuing the world, who is a normal family person, who is a good person and wants to be dharmic, and suppose if that person associates himself with Vedanta, spirituality, spa, sadhana, bhakti, whatever it is, all this connected with it, it will definitely help him a great deal, and he will be much above others in terms of his peers and contemporaries. But a person who is dedicated into the spiritual path, we said, who has dedicated himself to the cause of self-realization and who is, wanting with that Dhrida Vairagya, going towards that, if he is going to little bit indulge in materiality in terms of trying to find pleasure in the world, pleasure-seeking attitude, it is not that something comes along the way and he will not enjoy the world. That's a different thing altogether. Pleasure-seeking attitude in the world, then it might spell disaster for him. This is what we said. But we need not worry about this at the present level that all of us are in, because in terms of understanding a person who is dedicated in the spiritual path, what we really mean is somebody who is in the state of renunciation. We are not talking about a person who has just taken up a ochre robe alone. A person who is mentally, he is abstracted, or he is sort of withdrawn, and he can be whether in the householder's life or some other way of life, that really doesn't matter. But a person in whom that fire of self-realization is burning very high, one who is generally not perturbed by the world, one who is well risen above the world, whom at the mental level we call him a sannyasi. That is a real sannyasi, of course. We are talking about that person who is dedicated. A person who is at a lower level can also try that with as a practice with a strong sense of dispassion, with a strong sense of vairagya. He can do it. But having taken up that path and having trying very hard there, you have to burn the bridges of the erstwhile life. That's what it means. When that person, if he is somewhat tempted later on and he is trying to go in two boats at the same time, one leg here and one leg there, that will not really work for him. It will be a disaster for him. That's what we wanted to clarify here. So, author in this portion of the first chapter says that Vedanta is definitely meant to bring out that ultimate self from within us, meant to reach us towards the highest state of peace or bliss, which is self-realization or God realization. But it also helps us to deal with the world properly and achieve whatever we want to achieve in the world. What we want to achieve in the world is broadly categorized into two, that we want a general sense of peace and happiness, a person who is able to relate with the world properly. And that is also a technique that we need to learn. So we might have the best of things and the beings around us. My wife may be very good, my children may be very good. Yet if I do not know how to relate with them properly, my life will be miserable. Similarly, I may have the best of things around me also, whether it is in terms of comfort and material prosperity. There also, my relationship with money, my relationship with other things. So that needs to be corrected from within me. So therefore, it is within me. So he said in the last topic that it helps you to procure this happiness. And then what we look forward to is material prosperity. World is abound with wealth. There is lot of resources there, and it is there for everybody to derive it and enjoy it. So, but material prosperity, we see that only a very handful of people are able to be successful and be at the top level. So that means we are not able to understand the formula for success. Many people might have stumbled upon the formula for success. Even as a person achieves certain things in the world, it is the unconscious application of the Vedantic principles he might know or not know. In fact, sometimes some people give interviews because they are successful people, and their interviews are looked upon. People look up to it. But whether they are giving the exact formula for success, that is a different thing. It is just that they have been successful. And second aspect to this is, it is said that in a country where everybody is blind, let us say, then a person who is having only one eye, he will be the king. So that does not mean that he is perfect. He is better than others. So exactly like that, many people may be successful in the world. Whether they have achieved success according to their potential is the question. It is, see, suppose if Sachin Tendulkar is there, he is a person who can play at the international level. Somebody else is there who can play at the national level. So he plays Ranji Trophy games. Somebody else is there who plays at the club level. Somebody else is there who has the talent only to play at the street level cricket. So that talent is all different. So on any given day, suppose even if Tendulkar is extremely, let's say, not well, or even his frame of mind is not proper, then also he will be able to be better than most of us if he is going to play at a lower level. That does not mean that Tendulkar has achieved his potential. So if Tendulkar has to play at international level and somebody else has to play at national level, their success has to be defined at their level. Have I achieved the potential according to my level? That is how we need to understand success. That is according to each person's capacity, capability, etc. So in order to achieve success, there is a formula, and that formula also involves intellect. Vedanta therefore helps you to achieve material prosperity also.
Vedanta provides material prosperity. The world abounds in material wealth, yet you could remain in poverty. To gain prosperity, you need to learn the technique of drawing the wealth from the world. Vedanta has the formula for efficiency and productivity. 3 main disciplines constitute the technique. 1. Concentration. 2. Consistency. 3. Cooperation. You need to learn and practice them to gain success and progress in your life.
For the benefit of those who are not aware, this term 3C success was coined in the year 2001. There was the famous Australian series of India. So we had organized a talk for the Indian cricket team by Swamiji, and that was the time he coined this. Incidentally, that's one of the most famous series in the history of Test cricket itself, because in a 3-match series, after being 1 test down, India turned around and won the series. Famous matches at Eden Gardens and then followed by Chepak also. Particularly Eden Gardens in Calcutta, where Lakshman scored 281 and Lakshman and Dravid. There was a phenomenal turnaround. In Lakshman and Dravid, in their interviews, they verbatim quoted whatever Swamiji spoke to them. It's very interesting in BBC interview at that point of time. So there are 3 components of success. So it was titled as 3C success because all the components starts with the letter C. But the pun is that these 3C success, you see success, these 3C success. The 3C success refers to concentration, consistency, and cooperation.
The discipline of concentration is to keep your mind focused on the present action. The natural tendency of the mind is to slip into the past or future. It hardly stays in the present. It worries about the past or becomes anxious about the future. Your mind thus dissipates your energy. You need a powerful intellect to control the mind. The knowledge of Vedanta helps you strengthen the intellect and hold your mind in the present without allowing it to slip into the past or future, which is concentration, which renders your actions objective. You then become more efficient and productive in your field of activity.
These terms, it is not that we do not know or we do not use in our day-to-day lives. We all know it, and it is not a rocket science to understand what is concentration. See, the thing is, most of us, in fact, tell our children also, and we also tell probably ourselves that we must concentrate. Concentration means what? We will say focus, which is correct. Focus means what? Some other word we may say, but what exactly it is? So the action is being done by the body. So when you are doing the action, the body is present there. But if the mind is backing the action at that point of time, then we are said to be concentrating, which is not the case in most of the time. The body is there, but the mind is somewhere else. See, for example, when we are in the class here, body is sitting in the class, or if I am here speaking means my mind must also back this action of speaking. Then I am said to be concentrating in the class. Like that it is. It applies to all activities. And it is not that we have not experienced this also. Sometimes we find that in our own area of interest, the mind automatically is there. It does not deviate here or there. We do concentrate, isn't it? When a person is very interested in watching a cricket match, let us say, that time nobody can disturb him. So within quotes, we can say that he is fully concentrating in the match. Similarly, when you are sometimes in a work which is very interesting for you, when you get involved in it, you are completely in it. You may not even know who is coming and going out of the house at that point of time, even for that limited time. Then we can say that you are concentrating. So you cannot deny that you know this. You have experienced this. But the test is when we consciously, when we are given an activity or when we take up an activity where this is what we are supposed to do at that point of time, and then we try to apply the mind there, it goes here and there. So a work which will probably take 10 minutes will take half an hour. It is a simple mail that you have to type and send it to someone, or just, it can be anything that you want to write something for your child or give something. What it could be sometimes that you are, in fact, in your area of interest also, you are cooking in the kitchen, but you are suddenly forgetting whether did I add the salt or not. What happened? So where is the concentration? So what that means is that the mind goes here and there. That is the nature of the mind. There is the nature of everybody's mind. Mind's nature is to go into the past and the future. So therefore, we can say keep the mind here, keep them. You can tell the child also, but the point is how will anybody keep the mind in the present if they have not got some amount of power of intellect to keep the mind back into the present? So what keeps the mind back into the present activity is the intellect. See, suppose if you have to submit something tomorrow and that is the last date. If you fail, then there will be a big penalty. Let's say you have to pay 10,000 rupees as penalty if you don't submit something. Then you will be forced to do that thing tonight, right? At that point of time, you will try to keep everything away from you. Even if somebody calls, you will not take the call. Even if somebody wants to distract you, you will try not to get distracted. But there will be much more desperation and other thing. Mind will not be calm, but you will try to do that thing at that point of time, because you are forced to submit something tomorrow and there is a value for that work, because if you do not do it, there is going to be a loss of 10,000 rupees. Something like that. So when there is a pressure upon you like that, you force your mind into it, it automatically happens. Then once the thing is started, relief, then what happens? Next day onwards, we continue to be in our normal journey. That's all it is. So it is not that at that one point of time you have got some great intellect or something like that. It is the pressure of the situation that has forced the mind to be in that point of time. Okay. This we have seen in meditation or bhakti also. If somebody is suddenly diagnosed with something and the report is yet to come, you do not know what it is, at that point of time you see the intensity with which your prayers are being said. It has power also, but it is so much intense that time. Why? It is forced by the circumstance that you need to spend your energy on that direction. Like that it is. So nobody can disturb you. You will meditate, you will do bhakti, you will go to temple and be there for long hours also. Nobody can disturb you. Why? That is forced upon you at that point of time. Why? That life is precious for you. So wherever there is something you value, wherever there is something, there is this precious attitude is there, you tend to employ your mind there. It is forced by that circumstance. Now, Vedanta says this must be there as a natural way of life. That's all. In whatever you do, you must concentrate. And what you mind going by itself in an area of interest and you are just lost in its way, that is technically not called as concentration. Some people take their dog for a walk and the dog is very aggressive. The dog will pull the master and go. He is holding the chain, that's all. You cannot say that I am controlling the dog. In fact, the dog is controlling you. It will pull you. You cannot say I am having the chain, therefore the dog is under my control. So, mind pulls the intellect and somewhere it goes that you cannot call as concentration. Control of the dog means you don't even look at it. You say sit means it will sit. You say stand means it will stand. Some people train the dog like that. To that extent they know how to control the dog. Like that it is. So I like somebody and the mind always goes that doesn't mean that I am concentrating. I like that movie and I am automatically drawn, even if somebody is telling me something. One aspect of my mind is constantly in that picture because I like my hero there, whoever is acting in that hero. That is not concentration. If I have chosen to be in this class, I have to be here. If I have chosen to be doing some work, I have to be there. That is called concentration. So therefore, it is the intellect that keeps the mind on the chosen activity. So and the chosen activity, if you want to get the full spirit of the word concentration. So he says, in order to keep that mind on the chosen activity, you need intellect strength. Therefore, with reference to unit activity, it is called as concentration. Every activity, if you do with concentration, obviously the power of that activity is enormous. You will get quickly results. So imagine that way, even in your own productivity, if the work is done in 10 minutes instead of 30 minutes, you have other 20 minutes at your disposal. Like that it is. And that is what is the unconscious formula of successful people. They have this habit of taking up something at that point of time and keeping the other things out of their mind. See, we are not talking about a person who is somewhat great spiritually and all. They have this habit that if they take up something, they must be there. That is, you take up the case of any successful people, this is probably one of the things that they might unconsciously practice. In Ramayana, Hanuman goes in search of Sita. When he lands in Lanka, suddenly he is overwhelmed by the greatness of Lanka. Such a huge kingdom which is there in the island, which is in the middle of the ocean. So much of wealth, prosperity and military, military wealth also. There is a great army there and so much of protection, various things are there. So for a moment he thinks that how will my Lord cross over the ocean? How will the army come? How will we fight Ravana? And how are we going to redeem Sita? This type of a thought flow comes into his mind for a moment. And then he tells himself, what are you doing? Like this. First, what is your job now? You have come here to search for Sita. Do that. That is what it is. It's not that you should not plan for the future, but this is not the time now. The time now is that I have come to search for Sita. Let me do that job. That is called as concentration. So, through this episode, Valmiki is making us understand what is real concentration. Concentration is you take up something at that point of time, you be in it fully. This also requires intellectual strength. Okay, this is concentration. Now, with reference to group of activities.
The next discipline is maintaining consistency of purpose, directing your actions towards a set goal. Your intellect chooses an ideal in life, a cause beyond your self-centered interest. Having fixed a goal, the intellect directs your actions towards it. Your actions then become consistent, which develops power, dynamism. This is clearly seen when water flowing in one direction develops power. Similarly, wind blowing in one direction has power. So has light focused at a point. Thus, through consistency, your actions are rendered more powerful, more successful.
The second discipline is called as consistency. Consistency is directing all the actions towards the particular chosen goal. While concentration is talking about a unit action, every unit action you need to concentrate. The question is that whether are you able to direct all the actions towards a particular chosen goal. That creates tremendous energy. So the examples given here is that when the sunlight is scattered in all area, it doesn't create that much impact. But you make the sunlight focused on a particular point using a lens, it will burn your skin or it will burn the paper easily. Why? Why it has got so much power? Because the focus of the sunlight on a particular point. If the water is made to flow in a particular direction, there is hydroelectric power that is generated. Otherwise, if the water is made to flow in all directions, it might not be that powerful. Wind blowing in particular direction has power. Water flowing in particular direction has power. Light made to focus in a particular direction or point has a power. So all this is actually, it's talking about focusing all the energies in a particular direction. The question is that, are all our actions directed in a particular way? That will have definitely power. So, if a person, let us say, he is extremely talented, he is having a lot of, even whatever activity he takes, he can concentrate and produce results. But one day, let us say, he is in politics, another day he is in sports, and another day he is in movies, like that it is. You will find him that he may not be able to substantially produce result in any particular field of activity. In the olden days, when I say olden days, even 1-2 generations back, I'm not going to the cause of it. The cause of it could be the nature of our socialistic economy or various, the type of life that we were forced to even lead in India, like that. So you'll find that somebody being, wanting to get into a bank job or some job, private sector job or something, and they will, once that's a great thing to finish your education and get a job in a nice place, and then you'll find that person continues in the job till his retirement. He will be there, and they will. This is the case with most people. Most, if you want to call middle class type of life, that is there. So you will find that at the end of their career, if they are consistently there in that bank or something, they would have achieved some position or the other, and they would have gained expertise in the banking activities or whatever the activities that they have gained. Now, if you are going to, now it is not the case, maybe, I do not know, now means when I say the present situation, we do not know, which is a very serious situation, but for every, let us say, a little increment there or there, here or there, if you jump the job here and there, whether you will get complete expertise in whatever you want to learn in that particular field of activity also, we really do not know. So substantially where you will be and what you will achieve at the end of your career, it is a question mark vis-a-vis. I am not saying it's right or wrong. But the point is, when you are at it again and again and again and again, you tend to achieve something at the end of it. You can be an average person also. It's not that you are extraordinarily brilliant or so if you are being at it again and again and again, there will be definitely some achievement that is coming your way. And this applies to spirituality also. You might take time to choose a particular path, to choose a particular guru. That's all fine, as long as you are consciously doing it. After you have undertaken something and you are at it, be at it consistently with that person, with what he is teaching, because you will be reflecting, you will be going deeper into it, then you will be able to achieve something in that. Because all of us want instant relief. You go to Sri Ravi Shankarji, there's Sudarshan Kriya, you do it for some time. Afterwards, if you are not able to consistently do that, go to Sadguru, then you can come to Vedanta class, then you go to some ISKCON, various things. But then you will find that in terms of your spiritual development, you may not be able to achieve something. You might be jack of various trades. That is possible. You know some amount of Sudarshan Kriya also. You know some internal, inner re-engineering that Sadguru teaches or somebody else teaches something. You may not know everything. But here also you will find that more than anything, you need a stamina to be in one place again and again. And it is again the mind's wandering that will take you. So therefore, in order to go into the depth of something, you need some amount of strength. So are all our actions directed to the same goal? Here he is talking about unselfish goal, ideal, the author, which is correct. But to begin with, even if you want to have a success in your field, to begin with, I am saying you have even a selfish goal. Suppose you say, I want to become a doctor, or I want to build a house, or I want to earn this much money. Have that as a goal and direct all your actions towards that. Then that person will achieve something. So that is what is the so why is Tendulkar probably more successful than Kambli? Kambli also had a great talent. Vinod Kambli was his contemporary, and his temperament was good. He was also coming up very well. But that consistency that we saw in Tendulkar, we did not see in Kambli. He will go in advertisement, he will go in politics, he will go in TV show or something like that. Then that is not going to yield that much result. This is called as consistency. And Swamiji says we need to learn this quality from Westerners, Indians, he is saying. Because they have this thing that once they take up something more, I'm not saying Westerners are great and Indians are bad, nothing like that. In this particular area, they tend to be showing more consistency. There is this David Attenborough or Richard Attenborough. One took the Gandhi film, right? One is into the movie making. His brother is into this nature and other planet shooting for BBC various animals and birds. He was there stationed in Philippines forest to catch hold of a flight of an eagle, which is usually a very camera shy bird or something like that. And not only that, it comes out only in the monsoons. And in monsoons you don't get a clear picture also. He would go religiously for 20 years to Philippines every monsoon to get that shot, and he got it at the end of 20 years. That is called consistency. To be at it again and again and again till you achieve something, right? That is called consistency. So consistency of actions, even if you are, does not matter, extremely talented, you are average, it really does not matter. But you will end up achieving something in life, in your own field of activity, if you follow this discipline of consistency. So concentration for unit action, consistency for group of action, then in fact these two are enough. Concentration plus consistency has to give success. No God can deny you that actually. If you want to add a spiritual dimension to success, then the third aspect is also very useful and very important, is cooperation.
The third discipline is to recognize and maintain the spirit of cooperative endeavour. To achieve results in any field of activity, you will have to work with your colleagues as a team. You need to develop the support and cooperation of others related to your work. Work performed with such cooperation reaches heights of achievement. Vedanta therefore presents you the knowledge for your spiritual evolution as well as your material well-being. With this knowledge, you will command peace and comfort in your life. People are ignorant of the worth of this knowledge. They dub Vedanta as a religion of resignation and retirement. Thus, denying themselves this precious knowledge, they are lost in the world and suffer from worry and anxiety, stress and strain. Vedanta cries out to one and all, you are making a veritable hell of the world. Acquire this chaste knowledge. You will then turn the world into a heaven and fulfill your mission in life.
The third discipline is called as cooperative endeavour. We can call it in layman's language as teamwork. It is obviously much more applicable where collective results are got by teamwork. Suppose if you want to achieve success in your organization, see, in an office or in a setup like a factory or any organization for that matter, there is nothing wrong in pursuing individual excellence. In fact, you must pursue individual excellence. You must strive to be the best. You must strive to achieve your maximum potential. It is the correct approach and correct attitude. Only when you strive like this, do you contribute to the success of the organization also. So cooperative endeavour does not mean that, like in the way that, in a very generic way, I am saying that pulling everybody down to the level of the average. That is not being cooperative and say that everybody travel together. It will not work like that because that's not the natural way. There is a natural, high and low, up and down in terms of talent that is given to all people. It is there in the nature. You cannot make every animal in the same way. There are fast animals, there are slow animals. There are aggressive animals, there are passive animals. Like that it is. Every plant is different, every animal is different. Like that every human is different. So therefore, we have to pursue our capacity individual excellence. But the attitude in which you will put forward your action in the organization, that counts a lot. And that is where cooperative endeavour comes. There is a fine line that has to be drawn between what we told now as individual excellence and an approach of egoistic attitude. The whole purpose of Vedanta is to dissolve our ego actually. That is what is creating all the problems for us in the life. So, you naturally understand, appreciate and accommodate others in this collective work. You are also spoke in the wheel, this is the understanding. With this understanding, you put in the best of your effort. That's okay, that's perfectly okay. But the understanding is that you are not alone by yourself and you cannot achieve everything by yourself. That's just not possible. So therefore, you are doing it in the spirit of cooperative endeavour. If you understand this as a formula with reference to teamwork, you will be able to apply it even in individual works that you do. Say for example, in an office or in a cricket match or in politics, let's say a Prime Minister runs the cabinet with a group of ministers, cooperative endeavour, everything is easily understood. But I am an artist. I just paint. What is the big deal whether it is in a teamwork or not? It doesn't apply to me. Or I am doing something else on my own. Where is the question of teamwork coming there? Correct. Your argument is correct. But even there you understand that your action is not possible without the support of others. See, for example, I can say that I am taking the class here, but even if 10-20 people are not sitting there, who will I take class to? Who will I address to? Not possible. So even as if this class has to be somewhat okay, then there has to be a collective effort of all people here. I'm just giving a very mundane example, but the fact that somebody is provided this technology, the Zoom technology is there, internet connection is there, and various things are making the thing possible for us to have an interaction sitting in our own homes. If I do not recognize this and say that I am taking class, that is where the ego stands up. So if you recognize that any action is not possible without the contribution of not 100, not 1,000, but millions and millions, not just of people, all aspects of nature, everything comes together to make it happen. Electricity, if it goes, we cannot do it, but somebody is supplying the electricity, right? If it is very hot and you are sitting in AC, that AC is not your finding or something. You can say you bought the AC, that's about all. But with money you cannot fan yourself like this. You have to have that. So each and everything is a product of so many beings. And not only that, the knowledge that we are transacting here is based on somebody who has written this book, who has put in a lifetime effort of doing this, and he has derived the knowledge from all the masters of the past. So if you take all that into account, for a small thing like 1 hour class like this, there is a contribution of millions of people, and not to talk about the language of Sanskrit, language of English, and various other things that has contributed to the fact that some thoughts are being transacted here. So if we are not even having an awareness of all these things and say that I am doing this, that is what is meant by ego. So cooperative endeavour is to have this in the back of the mind and then put forward your best in the spirit of teamwork. It is the spirit actually. So you can work in office, you can work alone, that really doesn't matter. Or sometimes you might work in the house with the people, sometimes you are working alone. In each and everything you understand the totality functioning, the contributions of others. With that sense of gratitude, you are also able to contribute. Then you understand you are also playing your part in that orchestra. So as you do this, no doubt your contribution is there, that cannot be denied. But this thought will not come that this spoke is better than the other spokes. You are also one of the spokes, I am also one of the spokes. Like that it is. So this is called as cooperative endeavour or teamwork. This is something that is a very great message of Bhagavad Gita when Krishna talks about Karma Yoga in 3rd chapter. Bhagavad Gita's aim is not to bring in management principles and make offices function. Bhagavad Gita is meant for something else. But we can definitely derive these messages and apply in corporate or wherever we want to apply with the pearls that are available here and there. Like that it is, which are all taught in great management schools as great principles. It is very easily found in Gita. That is there as a, in terms of success, Gita says Kshipram. Kshipram means just like that. Just like that you can get success. Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. So what is really the challenge or the great, the great thing that we need to take up in life is to reach the main purpose for which we are given this birth. But if you want to achieve along the way success in the world, that he says is Kshipra. So Vedanta helps you to achieve this these three things also: concentration, consistency, and cooperative endeavour. This, anybody who applies, they have success, definitely. It is not a person who wants self-realization, God realization, nothing. Obviously, he might yet want to go in that direction. But unconsciously also, whoever applies this, they are bound to be successful. So, with this background, you can even analyze people. Some people may say, he is a great devotee of God, he is not achieving. But somebody else who never goes to temple, who's an atheist, but look at him, he is successful. You will carefully look into it, he will be applying these principles. It's another matter whether being extroverted, how he feels at the end of the day. That's all not. That person thinks money, money, money all the time and is focused. Wherever he goes into marriage also, he speaks about money. He develops business contact. He will be successful in business. It is another thing whether he is peaceful at home, whether he has a relationship with people, that is different. But as far as business is concerned, he will be successful. Because in that area, he is applying these principles. Whoever is applying these principles, they will be successful. So the author says, when Vedanta is helping you in this, why do you consider it to be a subject for your resignation and retirement? If a person wants to achieve the things in the world also, he needs to achieve it through the principles of Vedanta. But then finally, it is the eternal bliss within.
Eternal bliss within. Your real self is the abode of eternal peace and happiness. Every human being tirelessly seeks it in the world through action, emotion, and knowledge. The search for bliss goes on. None has ever found it. Only the rare one who has directed his search inward has reached that state of supreme bliss. He finds it through realization of the self within. History reveals nations conquering nations. The world has been indulging in hot and cold warfare. What purpose do these conflicts serve? What do they seek? What is their ultimate goal? You would find that all external conflicts are directed only to find internal happiness. People believe that outer conquest can bring about inner peace and bliss. It is a false belief arising out of spiritual ignorance. India has passed that state of spiritual infancy long, long ago. The ancient rishis, sages understood the hollowness of such pursuits. They had discovered that happiness dwells not in the outward charms of materiality. Real happiness abides in the core of your personality. The native home of happiness is your own self. You discover it through self-realization. External pursuit of happiness is futile. It is like trying to grasp the head of your shadow. The more you try, the more it recedes. You can never succeed that way. Instead, let your hand hold your head. The shadow is caught. The source of true happiness lies within you. You need not run after shadows. Instead, seek your inner self. You will reach the fountainhead of bliss.
Vedanta says that peace or bliss is our original nature. Anything that we procure from external world, it has a shelf life. However long it is, it has a shelf life. But what is already within you, it is not procured, it is only realized. This is something that we need to always keep in mind. If a person has all the facilities and amenities in life, imagine, but at the end of it all, he says really that he is not able to find peace of mind. On the other hand, you see somebody who is having nothing with him. Nothing means nothing. But genuinely he feels completely satisfied within himself. We tend to feel jealous about that person. I am saying in a positive way, which is correct also. You must, meaning jealous means you also want to be like him. That irrespective of anything, that you see that nothing shakes him. There's a smile on his face all the time. Now, how is this possible? So therefore, all the pursuit of us in this world is only towards gaining this peace. A person may argue and say that, no, I am pursuing money, or I am pursuing fame, I am pursuing glory, I am pursuing power, that's what I want. But unconsciously he is pursuing happiness through that. He may not be able to articulate properly, or he may not be able to understand the depth of his pursuit. But in and through all these things, he is wanting that peace or bliss that cannot be denied. So when nation conquer nations, when one person is able to overpower others and he acquires his property, or you gain knowledge, or you gain, what is it that ultimately you are seeking? In and through that, if I achieve that, I'll achieve bliss, I'll achieve happiness, is the psychological thing that is there inside. Therefore, pursuit of bliss is sort of universal. Not only humans, every creature, ant which searches for honey or whatever it is pursuing, you may say it is trying to satisfy its instinct of hunger or thirst, but without which it is not able to be peaceful. Even for us, when food is not served at right point of time, when there is going to be extreme hunger, how much agitated we become. So all these basic instincts also, and then other pursuits also at a higher level, it is for searching this elusive thing called happiness. And achieving it through conquer and conquest of others is correct in the sense, it is what we see in lower creatures also. Suppose you throw 5 seeds into a place, only the healthy seed grows, and it occupies so much space that it does not allow the other seeds to grow. It is perfectly justified because it's survival of the fittest. The bird which hatches out first, and it might push out the other eggs, which it might, I do not know, whatever is the reason, it might turn it, think it to be a competitor or whatever it is. But that is how nature is designed. It is the survival of the fittest, the strongest. Strength is life, weakness is death, says Swami Vivekananda. Great Vedanta, which is correct. It is the strong who has to survive. So therefore, in animals, if one animal conquers the other animal in terms of establishing its own self, it's perfectly justified. Swami Ramatitra says that same formula applies for humans also. It is the strong who will survive. It is he who is going to ultimately gain whatever he is going to gain. But the method of achieving it is not by brute force of animal. It is that you have to win over others, but with something else, with your love, with your knowledge. You have to accommodate others into you. In fact, you have to swallow others in that sense. Others has to be brought under your umbrella. That is how you win over others, and that person is going to be successful. He is going to, and that can come, in other words, if you are able to accommodate others with this weapon of love, and you are genuinely happy at the happiness of others, you are in the path of finding out the happiness for yourself. So that which is within you, you have to find out going inside, and you will be able to accommodate others only when you are able to identify with the self within you. This is the formula. Somebody's mic is getting on from time to time, just check yourself. If there is any questions, obviously you can put up the virtual hand. You can unmute and speak. Yeah. So the formula is to get into this oneness. That oneness is to seek the self within. So India has passed that stage long back. That the pursuit, what you are seeking is not external. Has been understood long back, and the rishis have found out the truth within themselves, and then they have given the formula also for others to do this. So therefore, this has become sort of a way of life. See, it is not that at all points of time all Indians are only marching towards self-realization. No, the core tattva or the core principle, that is the guiding point of all of us in the society, is this. So always there will be a substantial set of people who are dedicated to this, who are pursuing this, who will form sort of the beacon light for others to follow. So others may still follow wealth, others may still follow power, various things that in the world, but at the back of the mind, it is just that they are united to this. This has been the way of life in this civilization. I would say it is still surviving here like this only, in spite of all the things that are happening now. We can attribute it to Kali Yuga, we can attribute it to various other things. But even in a very deranged state now, world looks up to India for spirituality. In post Second World War, when the entire European nations were extremely exhausted, they were looking up to India at that point of time for spirituality, because with all her might, India had actually woken up. But another sad story that we went to sleep again, and when you wake up early in the morning and you see that, oh, it's only 4:30, let me sleep for 5 more minutes, and you put the alarm off and you sleep, then you wake up, it's 8 o'clock, by which time all others have woken up. It is to that effect that we have gone. But it is still in the air, I would say. It is still this is the tattva. So that's what he says. And the third example what is given here is with reference to the shadows. You can even extend that example. When you are going towards the light, the shadow follows you. When you run away from the light, you are following the shadow. You can never catch the shadow. So here he says, you catch hold of your head, the shadow is caught. But you turn towards the light, the shadow follows you. So exactly like that, you pursue the self within, everything else will follow you. This is the formula. So you have to seek the self within. Now if this is the case, and if it is established beyond any reasonable doubt, why is it that everybody is not pursuing this? In fact, the whole world is pursuing the world only. All the people are pursuing the world only. Can everybody go wrong? What is the answer for that? So the author says,
if this be true, then why do people still chase material objects? Why are people fascinated by the world? Can all go wrong? No. There is a reason for their external pursuit. The sense objects of the world give them instant pleasures. They pursue the external world for these immediate joys. Think carefully. These pleasures are fleeting, not enduring. They disappear as fast as they appear. The wise do not indulge in such transient pleasures, while the ignorant are lost in them. Here's a simple experiment. Hold a candy in one hand and a wad of currency notes in the other. Offer them to an infant to pick one of the two. The infant reaches for the candy. It knows only the immediate pleasure of the candy. Now, if the same were offered to you, what would you pick? What really makes the difference? The infant is ignorant. You are equipped with the knowledge. So it is with the world. People in their ignorance pick candies in the world and deprive themselves of the bliss of the self within. This lasting happiness, this enduring bliss, lies not in outward splendor and grandeur, not in riches, but in your own self. You must gain the knowledge of your inner self, the living knowledge of the reality through the spiritual laws of life. You will have to approach it as university students pursue their studies. Take up each idea, reflect upon it, make it your own. Apply this knowledge in your life. Thus, through knowledge and application, discover the primeval source of happiness within you.
so this apparent contradiction is explained by the psychology of the human pursuit, that the mind tends to go for instant pleasures. Remember this thought that mind operates on the basis of pleasure and pain. What gives me immediate pleasure and what gives me immediate pain? That is how the choice is revolving as far as the mind is concerned. Intellect operates on the basis of right and wrong. Mind operates on the basis of pleasure and pain. Intellect operates on the basis of right and wrong. Mind says, this is pleasurable, therefore it is right. Intellect says, this is right, therefore it will be pleasurable. I repeat, mind says that this is pleasurable, therefore it is right. Intellect says, this is right, therefore it will be pleasurable. Why it will be pleasurable means immediately it may not be pleasurable. So that is the thing. So what gives a child, when it is given the candy and the currency, the child is ignorant of the value of the currency and it knows that the candy gives immediate joy. But the point is, you also know this and you also like candy, but when the choice is offered to you, you may choose the currency, or rather you will choose the currency, because though you cannot eat the currency like you can eat the candy, you can buy many candies with the currency. It will take time. You have to go to the shop, stack, and then, but it is going to give you pleasure in the long run. But the difference between the child and the adult is that the child is ignorant of the value of the currency. You are having the knowledge of the currency. A person who has the knowledge of the currency, he is assumed, or definitely he knows the value of the candy also, but not vice versa. That is the tragedy. So the child knows only candy. You know candy and currency both. Therefore, an informed choice only you can make. The child cannot make. Exactly like that, the mind cannot make a choice like that. Mind goes along with what gives immediate pleasure. But it is only the intellect which can value two things, can really go for the correct choice. And that correct choice can be distasteful in the beginning, but in the long run, it is that which is going to be beneficial to you. But you may say that, what if it is only beneficial? I want pleasure. Yes, it is not only beneficial, it is pleasurable also. It is whether you think in terms of anything that gives you pleasure, your own physical exercises or your own pursuit of Vedanta. It is, let me tell you, I do not know, many are maybe attending some of these classes for a long time, but may have joined new also. It is not going to be any easy in terms of trying to understand, apply, and that's what he says. It has to be practical. You have to see the results in your own life. That is what, there's no instant, what we call, you attend a stress management session and all your stress is relieved. Or there's a meditation or a yoga technique by which all the toxins will go away and you will be peaceful or blissful. All this will not work. It may give temporary relief. But if you are going to work on your personality, it might be a very slow but a steady process. Each step that you take could be a very correct step. But for perceptible results, it may take time. But it is this that you will go through as pain. It is only a matter of days or weeks, something like that. We cannot give a definite time, but it's something like that. But the process also becomes enjoyable. Then you look forward to studying. You look forward to, like some people who do yoga, some people who do exercises. It is not that, oh, somehow I have to do yoga today. That will be in the beginning. You are forcing yourself to do yoga. But once you have understood the taste of doing the asana and pranayama and various other things, you feel happy taking care of your body like that, and it's very enjoyable. So, in the initial phase, it might be somewhat distasteful, but in the long run, this is what it is. So therefore, the author concludes here, because he has introduced the chapter to the people who are not introduced to Vedanta, that if you are seeking the eternal bliss within is there, but you need to approach this as a university student will approach it. You take up the thing, try to apply it in your own life, do experiments, then it will be more, it will be more substantial proof will be there for you. That your own experience is the pramana there. Thank you very much. No affirmation.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते